Welcome to Big Idea Herdly, where you can learn something new in just a few minutes. Today we listen to The Blind Spot, Why Science Cannot Ignore Human Experience, in which we probe into the paradoxical relationship between scientific objectivity and human subjectivity, challenging the notion that science can fully separate itself from the observer's experience. Don't go away. Herdly, the editor, will be right back with the story. In exploring the relationship between scientific objectivity and human subjectivity, we are led to confront a central paradox. While science seeks to describe the universe from a detached, objective standpoint, it cannot entirely remove the subjective experiences of those who observe and interpret the data. This tension is not just a philosophical conundrum, it is a practical issue that influences how science is conducted and understood. The authors argue that dismissing human experience as irrelevant to scientific inquiry creates a blind spot that limits our understanding of reality. One of the central themes in this discussion is the idea that human consciousness is not just a passive observer of the universe, but an active participant in the scientific process. The book highlights how subjective experience is intertwined with the objective pursuit of knowledge, stating, "Science tells us both that we're peripheral in the cosmic scheme of things and that we're central to the reality we uncover. This duality reflects the challenge of integrating human consciousness into a framework that traditionally values detachment and objectivity." Story 1. The Dilemma of the Quantum Observer. One of the most compelling stories illustrating this paradox comes from the realm of quantum physics. In the early 20th century, physicist Niels Bohr and his colleagues developed the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, which posits that particles exist in a state of probability until observed. The act of observation collapses this probability wave into a definite state. This theory suggests that the observer's consciousness plays a crucial role in determining the state of a quantum system, directly linking human subjectivity with scientific phenomena. Bohr's interpretation faced criticism, notably from Albert Einstein, who famously argued that God does not play dice with the universe. However, experiments like the double-slit experiment have shown time and again that the observer effect is real and cannot be ignored, forcing scientists to grapple with the implications that human consciousness may influence the very fabric of reality. Story 2. The Subjectivity in Measuring Time. Another story that underscores the book's argument involves the nature of time itself. In a famous debate between Albert Einstein and philosopher Henry Bergson in 1922, the two clashed over the nature of time. Einstein insisted that time was a physical dimension that could be measured precisely, independent of human experience. Bergson, on the other hand, argued that time as we experience it, flowing, continuous, and intimately tied to consciousness, was just as real as the mathematical time described by physics. The debate highlighted a profound difference in how science and philosophy perceive reality, one as a series of objective measurements, the other as a subjective continuum. This conflict remains unresolved today, suggesting that our understanding of time might always be incomplete if it excludes the subjective human experience. Story 3. The Temperature Parable. The third story comes from a more everyday example, the concept of temperature. The book tells the story of how temperature was historically understood through direct human experience. Hot and cold, the comfort of a warm fire, or the bite of a frosty wind. However, as science progressed, temperature became an abstract concept, defined in terms of the average kinetic energy of particles. This abstraction allowed for incredible advancements in science and technology, but it also distanced the concept of temperature from the human experiences that originally defined it. The blind spot arises when we forget that the scientific concept of temperature, while more precise, is rooted in and can never fully replace the subjective experience of warmth or coldness. This story serves as a metaphor for the broader tension between abstract scientific concepts and the lived realities they aim to describe. In each of these stories, we see the challenge of maintaining a balance between objectivity and subjectivity in science. The observer effect in quantum mechanics reveals that our attempts to observe the universe without influencing it are inherently flawed. The debate over the nature of time shows that reducing reality to mere measurements may neglect crucial aspects of human experience. And the evolution of our understanding of temperature illustrates how scientific abstraction can sometimes obscure the very phenomena it seeks to explain. The book underscores that acknowledging this paradox does not diminish the value of science. Rather, it enriches it. By accepting that human consciousness and subjective experience are integral to the scientific process, we can develop a more holistic understanding of the universe. The authors suggest that instead of striving for an impossible objectivity, science should embrace its roots in human experience. They argue, our science is also always the world's science, an expression of how the world interacts with us. As the editor of Herdley, through learning these lessons, we can better anticipate a future where scientific inquiry is not just a quest for objective truth, but a collaborative dialogue between the universe and the conscious beings who seek to understand it. This shift in perspective could lead to more inclusive and empathetic scientific practices, where the richness of human experience is seen as a source of insight rather than a hindrance. In revisiting our key argument that scientific objectivity and human subjectivity are inseparable, we reaffirm the importance of acknowledging the role of human experience in the pursuit of knowledge. The book illustrates that science cannot completely detach itself from the observer's perspective, a concept that is often overlooked but crucial for a deeper understanding of reality. One particularly striking story involves the concept of consciousness in cognitive neuroscience. Researchers once attempted to study consciousness by isolating brain activity, assuming it could be understood purely in physical terms. However, experiments with patients who had undergone split brain surgery revealed that consciousness could not be fully explained by examining brain functions alone. These patients, who had the connection between their brain hemispheres severed to treat severe epilepsy, exhibited two independent streams of consciousness within one body. The left and right hemispheres operated almost as separate entities, each with its own thoughts and perceptions. This phenomenon demonstrated that consciousness is not just a byproduct of physical brain processes, but is deeply intertwined with subjective experience, challenging the reductionist view that it could be entirely understood through objective scientific methods. This story underscores the book's central message, that the pursuit of scientific knowledge must remain grounded in the realities of human experience. As we continue to explore the mysteries of the universe, embracing this interplay between objectivity and subjectivity will enable us to forge new paths in understanding, ensuring that science remains a truly human endeavor.